Boy, do we have a show for you today.
Yep.
It is the Flame Central Podcast, and it's powered by Alcove Mortgage, people. Yes, I've been drinking from the wrong side of my mug because I have to drink from powered.
By Alcove.
The power comes from. Guess who we have on the show today?
That's right.
He's coming.
Sorry, I need to. Coach
I
McKay.
want his reaction
Coach
to the
McKay.
bobblehead.
I know. Wait till you hear his reaction on the bobblehead. We actually have the real Coach McKay on.
Yeah,
It's not just this guy. Which that's a great conversation. So stick around for that. But first, we're going to talk a little hoops. Men coming off a 2-game road trip. They'll actually go to Queens tomorrow. Wednesday. But let's start, Matt Warner, with that first game. We were like all fired up on Thursday. The game at Kennesaw State, it was so weird how the scheduling happened this year because only one game against Kennesaw State happens to be on the road.
Yeah.
Both teams are tied for first place, and the Flames fall.
Well, it was a tough ball game, as we all know. Liberty led by 14 in the second half, unable to close it out. I think the biggest takeaway for me in that ball game, 17 turnovers obviously is a problem, and that has been a problem in basically all of Liberty's losses. That's kind of a common thread. They turn the ball over, they're in trouble. But it just felt like Kennesaw sped Liberty up. Like, Liberty doesn't want to play a game in the 80s. Can they? Sure. Is this roster probably more capable of it than some in the past? Absolutely. But that's not where they want to play. And it just felt like there were stretches of that game where outside of Darius, he looked comfortable playing at that speed. He looked comfortable playing with the way they were defending Liberty. But maybe not everybody else did.
Was almost in that like panic mode.
It was chaotic.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted to turn it into a little bit. They wanted to, really try to make it frantic.
Right.
And they did. And so even when Liberty was up 14, you felt like, man, it's not over. Like typically you've seen, especially when Liberty's won on the road, they start to make that move in the second half where they get to double digits and they start to stretch it out.
Right.
They couldn't do that.
And their defense gets locked down, and that's when that lead starts to
and
stretch.
credit Kennesaw as well. They made some big shots.
Oh, yeah.
They made some big threes down the stretch of that ball game. So they were locked in. They had a sold-out crowd. It was a great atmosphere, all that. This was their Super Bowl. And in a lot of ways, you know that because you saw what they did the next time out. They left it all on the floor against Liberty. They turn around and lose to Queens.
Yeah.
I literally said that on Friday. Believe it or not, I was in the office and I said to Matt Warner, briefly, hey, I'm leaving. I said Kennesaw State is going to lose their next game. And I called it. I called it. I didn't record it, but next time I will.
Yeah.
I called it.
You could see in that game as you're watching it like that, like you said, their Super Bowl, but the crowd, the way the crowd got into it, and I think that's one of the hardest things in basketball more than any other sport, is that the crowd is right on top of you, and when they
high school gym.
When they gather that momentum. Yeah. It's like the signs of, and I think it was a great learning experience for Liberty, because the signs of like, how do you stop it once you start feeling it getting out of control, and how do you slow it back down? And I think Kennesaw State did a great job of not allowing that to happen. And then the second part of it was you got to give Kennesaw State a lot of credit. They showed a ton of toughness. Like when it came down to crunch time, like they were really aggressive and they made shots and they went to the rim. They did all the things that you have to do not to shy away from a team that has consistently beat you, that they've been chasing for so many years. So you got to give them a lot of credit. But yet at the same time, you know what Coach McKay and the Liberty players will do is like, okay, we've been here now. How do we handle it the next time we get the opportunity to see them? There's
actually an incredible stat that Coach McKay will share with us in just a moment that will tell you how experienced this Kennesaw State team is. But what that program has been able to do, and Abdur Rahim.
Yep, Coach Abdur Rahim.
He had one win his first season. One victory.
He took that program was a dumpster fire when he took it over.
Incredible how he's been able to
didn't make
turn
sense because they're in basically Atlanta.
I know.
Like you think about the talent that's down that part of the country, it just didn't make sense that they were that awful. But he's turned it around. He's kept guys there, which is we know, and all coaches tell you this day and age, keeping your guys is harder than getting them, right? Because everybody's bouncing around. And so, he's kept that core group together. That's been fantastic.
They got a guy named Youngblood. I mean, that's like the best name in.
That
He was
is
like
such
a
a good
4-star
name.
recruit.
Yeah.
Like he was a big time recruit.
I remember when he came in, and we were all shocked. But
Yeah.
I mean, he has definitely lived up to that.
Can I
star
give
rating.
one thing I looked up though that I find interesting because we'll see how it all shakes out.
I love these Matt
This
Warner.
tidbit.
These
The
are the
tidbit.
Matt. Well, I've
Yeah.
become a major fan, and I get this in the broadcast booth
Yeah.
of Matt Warner's tidbits. Go.
I'm thinking of starting a newsletter. Actually,
Yeah.
tidbit. Tuesday's tidbits. I'm workshopping.
Ready?
It's incredible
Ready?
what you can come up with
Yeah.
when you research things.
It's
Right,
unbelievable. It's
right.
unbelievable. Ready, set,
Go.
go.
So if things hold serve the rest of the way, and Kennesaw is the 1 seed, Liberty's the 2, Liberty would have to go there for the championship game,
I
right?
know what he's going to say.
They would have to go there for the
Yes, I don't
championship
know
game
yet.
if
I
it
don't
all
know.
holds up.
I
It
don't
could
know.
well change before it's over. I did a little digging.
Wait for this.
And if the
Okay.
Kennesaw State academic calendar that I found is correct, the championship game is played on a Sunday. Their
he
spring
going?
break starts on a Friday before.
Uh-oh.
So you talk about the crazy environment, all the students. Guess what?
Cancun.
They're
Yep.
long gone.
Cancun.
Yeah.
You're not keeping them around for 2
Championship
days.
game.
So I'm just saying
Cancun.
the crazy atmosphere that we witnessed there, it's gonna be hard to recreate that a second time because it's spring break, baby,
Spring
and
break,
we're out of
baby.
here.
See ya.
You know what I mean?
Panama City, baby.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Beach
Let's
week,
see if
yeah.
that academic calendar is right. And you
Right.
know what happens on that Saturday?
I actually enrolled in a
Whoa.
class just so I could make sure that, no, I'm kidding.
Matt's an owl.
yeah.
You know what happens
Yeah.
on that Saturday?
What happened?
It's my birthday.
Oh, yeah,
You know
I
what
knew
day
it.
is my
Right.
birthday?
It all comes
around.
back
To
Emily.
myself.
Right.
You know what? You know what George Washington told his troops?
Oh, gosh.
What George Washington told his troops on your birthday?
March 4th.
She's told this one every year.
And it gets
It's as
better
bad
every
as
year.
her Liberty Cranes joke. Yeah.
Okay, this is such a great conversation with Coach McKay, so let's get to that and we'll react in just a minute. Okay, off the court, he's in the running for being my favorite coach of all time. On the court, well, he's a little difficult to interview at halftime. It's Coach McKay. I mean, I can't believe you made time out of your schedule to come on the Flame Central podcast, which is powered.
By
Alcove Mortgage.
Bam! Got that in quick.
It
I love
definitely
Love
is.
it.
Coach McKay, how's it going?
I'm doing better.
You're doing better.
Yeah.
Split on the road. So that's why we decided to have you on today because
So if we would have lost on Saturday,
absolutely not. I would.
Okay.
Matt Warner may have asked,
Yeah.
but I wasn't
Yeah.
going to.
We would have given you your space.
Yeah.
No,
right.
but that huge win at at Jacksonville State. What did you learn about your team?
Well, did you watch it? Because you were not sure if it was Queens or Jack State. I'm not.
I love, Coach, that you started right out of the gate. You set the tempo with her right out of the gate.
I mean, is this halftime?
Like you are one of the gang.
I will
I
say this.
literally
love it.
don't know why I
love
want
it.
to stay here
Yeah.
for the rest of my career.
I'm not one to stand
I
up.
really do. I really
love
do
it.
want to stay here forever,
Yeah.
but like with this, I just don't understand.
I'm not one to stand up for Emily, but I will say this.
I'm
She
looking
was
ahead.
the first to text me when Kennesaw was trailing to Queens on Saturday.
Yeah.
And she was the first one.
She's
I'm
down.
getting all these weird emojis and I'm like, what's going on? So yes, she was locked in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have to tell her that she's special.
Yeah.
We love her.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a little
worthy.
maintenance.
She's
yeah.
worthy.
Yeah,
We said we
right.
just take every
If
once in a while.
anyone
Yeah.
has
As
an
we
open,
tear her
I
down,
heard
we
there's
build
an
it
open
back up.
position at News in Advance,
Yeah.
so I might.
That's, yeah. That's
So
it.
I might slide over and I'll really start writing some articles.
Yeah.
No, in all
Screw them.
seriousness, you are an elite professional. And that's why I feel like I can give you a bad time at halftime.
Coach, you don't need to pull the Joe Yacht.
Tear
You're
her
special.
down.
Build it
Tear her
back.
down, build her up,
Yeah.
Coach. It's just
No.
like the team. That's what you
Okay,
do.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say this, but enough about me.
Yeah, right.
Coach,
you get
really.
Yeah, we'll clip that.
What did you learn about your team on this road trip?
Yeah, I think the loss at Kennesaw was disappointing for all of us. Like, we know the significance of that outcome was something that we would have to respond to, and it's what I love about our group. There wasn't one individual in that locker room in our film session the next day that wasn't extremely disappointed. And to their credit, they all owned it. And I felt like, I thought we would respond, and I felt like going into Jackson State, which had been playing really well, I thought it was going to be a challenge, their physicality, their athleticism. And our guys, they never doubted. They they responded better than I did to some of the antics that occurred during the game. And although we can't get the Kennesaw game back, I will say, think it was healthy for us because I think we learned something from it.
Yeah.
You guys have done a really good job about not, sometimes you lose one and it lingers and it affects the next time out. You guys have done a good job of kind of turning the page and just moving forward. Has that been, do you feel like because of the experience of this team? Is it just the uniqueness of the personalities on this team? What do you feel like has allowed you guys to do that so well?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not that yours wasn't.
Oh my gosh, it's just unbelievable. You know what I was gonna look up of how many, the last loss? Oh, I was only 2-1.
Touche. Yeah,
But you guys have responded.
I think it's player-led. I think when you have a team that has Kyle Rode or Blake Preston, Darius McGee in his own way. Darius is not the most, the most vocal guy. And but his humility speaks really loudly in our locker room. I just think that's going to be the expectation, and fortunate to be around these guys because we as coaches get the benefit of learning from them on the regular. I think Kyle Rhode's one of the best leaders I've ever been around, irregardless of age. So I think that's why we maybe can get over both a significant win and a difficult defeat.
Yeah. When you watched the Kennesaw State game, it was very interesting. After the game was over, I listened to the interview to the opposing coach, and he talked about how, basically Liberty is the highest standard, and how that program has been built and developed, and how far they've come along. And they had and he talked about connection, like how well connected their team is, to the point where you guys have beaten them up pretty bad throughout the years, and then finally, you can see their resolve, their determination to where they're able to get that victory. And they did it in a very tough manner, and how they came back and were able to finish. So now as your team sees them sort of rise, and obviously you got to win your final games here, get in the tournament, get another shot at them again. What do you do? Tell your kids from your perspective, like, hey, we are the top dog. Everybody has chased us, and they finally they took a little bite of us. How do you respond? How do you tell your kids to respond if you have the opportunity to see them again down the road?
Yeah, Joe, I know you've been around us. We just have this mantra: what you do every day is more important than what you do every once in a while. And I think for our group, just keeping the right perspective and making sure we frame our participation, our pursuits in the right way is really important to us. The prevalence of social media now, our guys see it when we get beat. We see the locker room celebrations, and
it's like they won the conference whenever somebody beats Liberty.
They're significant, and I think that's a compliment in a lot of ways. I think
they've climbed a big mountain.
They have. They're the second most experienced team in the country in terms of points and rebounds, returning percentage. That only behind Tulane. So that's a core group that stayed together for a long time. And typically in college basketball, at least, and I think you see it blend a little bit over in the high major football, the older you get, the better chance you're going to have to compete for championships. And Kennesaw they're in that lane.
Yeah.
Coach, are you getting sad about Darius's time winding down?
Wow. That was...
Why did you
I'm
have to
getting
bring it
so
up?
sad. Okay, let's change the subject. Check out this bobblehead. Did you have to pay? I wonder if Liberty had to pay extra for the frost on the sides.
What?
Look at the frost. Look at the. Oh, is that just on mine? Did I do that? Oh my gosh. I am obsessed with this bobblehead.
Did they run this by you at all? Did they bring in like
obsessed.
10 bobbleheads and say, pick which one
This will be the last time
It's so
I do
good.
the Flame Central podcast.
That's a great bobblehead.
Sponsored by Alcove Mortgage.
It wasn't then, so
It's
not.
an outstanding
I'm
bobblehead.
telling you, the glasses,
I love
the
it.
hair. I mean, it is so incredible.
Dreading the thought of not having Darius McGee in a Flames uniform. Dreading it because he's been so special. He really has. He's the uniqueness of his not only locker room presence, but his ability on the court. Like, I've done this a long time. I'm not often surprised. And he does some things. The other day, he shot it right in front of Coach Harper, Jacksonville State. I mean, literally, maybe 18 inches away, like behind the hash mark.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's going in. So but I want everything that Darius has for Darius coming to him. The dude's been unbelievable. And if you ask any of his teammates about him, the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, I'm thankful I got an opportunity to play with him," because he's that kind of dude. He's our version of what Malik was for football. I just think he's been a transformational player for our program.
I don't know if you've seen these segments that we're doing about my moments, and it's a guy's favorite moment in a Liberty uniform. And go figure, Darius McGee is about the ASUN championship in 2020, last game in the Vines, when all of his teammates went off. I'm like, no, this is your moment about something you've done big. Like, is it your career high? Right. Is it? No, none of it. It's just like, I don't know why it still surprises me.
But I'm not surprised, because that's who he is. Like, he wants zero credit. He doesn't want any attention. All the accolades, the honors. I mean, literally, ask Bill Smith, our SID, to look this up. I don't remember the last 3-time conference player of the year in any league.
Yeah, right.
I think my son Gabriel looked it up. He said Oscar Robertson and Bill Walton.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pretty good
but
company.
there might be some more after that. And he hasn't won that honor yet, but he's the best player in our league, and he's one of the best players in the country. And he's in a Liberty uniform. That's been a blessing.
Yeah.
How do you try to balance, because you see those games, you could see it in the Kennesaw game where, he scored the first 10 points, and you're like, all right, it's going to be one of those nights.
Yeah.
How do you balance with your team, or do you even talk about it? Like, the balance of, we want to feed him, he's hot, but you also don't want guys to pass up shots or to become hesitant because they know, but Darius is cooking, maybe I should make an extra pass and try to find him. Where does that balance kind of come from?
Yeah, I think our guys trust Darius, and we trust our guys. So it's the ebb and flow of the game that'll necessitate the response. And for Darius, he's learned that he doesn't have to do it on his own. And I think last year, you remember towards the end, he got a little exhausted because he was carrying us. And I think with the addition of Colin and the improvement of the other guys, Kyle Roach, Shiloh Robinson, Joseph Vincent, Isaiah Warfield, I can name a host of Blake Preston. I just feel like Darius knows that, hey, if I'm cooking and I got an opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of it. If I don't, I'm going to create for someone else.
When you look at your team, you had a whole season of data right now. Yeah. And when you look at your team from an analytic standpoint, and if you were to self-scout yourself, where are the areas that you guys need to improve as you come down the home stretch?
And Joe, you know how popular this podcast is.
Oh, it's popular.
It's nationwide. All of our opponents are watching it. I mean, this is.
Do they need a house, though? Because I have a guy for you.
Yeah.
You're moving to Lynchburg.
I'm sure they're taking a close look at you guys.
Yeah, I think our guys realize that, there are some things that are detrimental to our pursuit of the outcome. And when we're not really hard to play against defensively, and for whatever reason that is occurring, we gotta turn that around. We gotta fix it. And unlike, I think, last year when our defense waned a bit towards the end, I feel like we've been fairly consistent on that end of the floor this year. Now, the last 5 minutes of Kennesaw, I think they scored on their final 12 possessions. That was an aberration. That hasn't been who we are.
Right.
So I think for us, the quickness in which we turned the page and got a little more attentive to detail on that end of the floor helped our cause. And again, that's the maturity of our group. It's an expectation that we have of ourselves. And my hope is for not just our team, but our fan base is not to expect perfection. The game of basketball is a series of mistakes, and your ability to overcome them, not only from a mental standpoint, but a physical one, I think will reflect your maturity. And boy, when you've had the season that our guys have had, because I heard of some of the social media response after losing to Kennesaw, our guys have done an unbelievable job. We've got the best, analytics or metric numbers that we've had since we've been here. And they're having a great season. Let's enjoy that. Let's celebrate it, and let's keep trying to put deposits in this year that will build for the future. Because I think this group is worthy of that kind of following and that kind of unconditional love and support, because they are unbelievable representatives of our university.
Coach, you can't listen to the haters. You can't be listening
Oh,
to social
come
media
on.
haters.
What's funny
He
about
does
it?
it.
Log off.
I
You don't need that.
Oh, haters equals motivators.
yeah, I
Haters
like
gonna
that.
hate.
I like that. I actually, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy said something that I loved, because sometimes things will remain invisible until we put names to them. And given my personality and how I was raised, and maybe some of the gifts that I possess, one of the things that I get trapped in is performance. And this guy said something that I think we could all benefit from. He said, my growth and maturation has been tied to living out of a perspective of being loved or from love rather than living for love. And boy, I thought that was really good. I think when we know our true identity, we got a chance to really make a difference, and because we know that we're loved, that we got a chance to bring glory to Him and maybe inspire some others that are around us.
So now Emily can say that in the mirror every morning
Yeah.
when she
I'm gonna
wakes
put
up.
that on. I'm gonna put that on
Sticky note.
loop.
Yeah.
Text it to
I'm
her
just gonna
so
put
she
it on
can
loop.
memorize it
Yeah.
and say it to herself in the mirror
Oh my
every
gosh,
morning.
stop. Colin Porter is somebody that I want to talk about. Watching him has just been so fun. You have to remind yourself that he's actually a freshman.
Yeah.
But as this any freshman, there's a transition to this college game. After that Kennesaw State game, how do you think how did he respond or like feel after that game? Because I feel like he did make a few freshman mistakes, but again, that's expected. But since he's played so well, you don't.
You ask the hard-hitting questions, and like, whoosh, wow. Most freshmen hit a wall, and Colin hasn't. He really hasn't. He had 3 turnovers at the end of the Kennesaw game, but there's been games that we've had other players with more turnovers. They just didn't occur when
critical times.
everybody was watching. And 2 of the turnovers he got fouled on. So I think Colin Porter is special. I think he'll be one of the best players that Liberty's ever had.
He is so fun to watch.
He's elite. He really is. And you asked how did he feel after the game. He was really discouraged. Felt like he was responsible for the outcome. And that...
I had a feeling, and he shouldn't.
No, that wasn't the case. And his teammates told him that in the locker room the day after. And not unsurprisingly, Colin Porter responded. That's who he is.
Right.
Look, when you're a coach that played the position of point guard, you want someone that
I would have never guessed that.
is...
I'm just kidding.
See?
Can I do one?
You open
Can
the
I get
door.
one punch?
Yes.
Can I
To be fair,
please?
I didn't think of you as a facilitator, more so like a scoring guard. That's what I kind of, yeah.
But you want
That's what I
someone
meant.
that has as much investment and ownership in it as you do. And the way I measure point guards, A, do they impact winning, and how much do they do that? And B, do they make others around them better? And I'm telling you, Colin Porter has been instrumental in our program's growth this season. I think he's, if he's not the best freshman in the league, he's certainly on that all-freshman team.
All right, so you have a challenge now. You go back-to-back games against the same opponent.
Yeah.
And everybody's done this in the league, but you're the last one to do it, and to do it in the last 2 games, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the year is kind of unique. But you did this a couple of years ago during the COVID season. What are the unique challenges maybe of playing an opponent back-to-back like this?
Yeah, the difference from this season and the COVID season, look, we were just incredibly grateful to play games the COVID season. Like, I remember the anticipation of waiting for your test result. Like, that was, that in itself had an anxious,
COVID schmovid.
Yeah, so although, and those games were back-to-back, they were Friday, Saturday, and quick turns and all that. But the challenge this year is the games are so significant for both teams. Like, Queens needs it to get to the ASUN tournament, which only has 10 teams in it, and we need it to, if we can't have another regular season or share of a regular season title. So I think and there's a day in between that will be a quote unquote travel day. For us, I think it's what you do every day. Yeah. And Queens has and I knew, not to say like Emily, I know it all, but I thought going in Queens, because they have a culture of winning.
Yeah.
And just
They're a
like
good
Bellarmine,
program,
we knew that they were going to be a challenge. So I'm not surprised they have 17 wins and 7-9 in the conference. They're a really potent in offensive attack, and they have a special guard in Kenny Dye. He's in a backcourt that I think will give us a lot of challenges because they've given the rest of the league challenges. Yeah. So what I hope that we garner from it is another deposit, a challenge defensively that will be significant, and see if we can't get a little bit better from Wednesday and Friday's games.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, it's possible that it could be 3 straight.
I know.
Which it's just, I mean, it's a bizarre scheduling thing, and that's kind of like the worst case scenario when you.
Oh, Coach is biting his tongue right now.
I
can see it.
I mean, I remember talking, and I don't remember who it was in the program when the schedule first came out, and it was kind of one of those, like, at the time, you're like, oh boy, wouldn't that be awful if, like, that ended the season and then you ended up having to turn around and play them at third, but now it's in play.
It's
so,
almost like
bizarre.
the A-Sun is like trying to get at Liberty for winning so much, and then being like, peace out, we go to see you. Party in the CUSA. There's like a Miley Cyrus song like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be the intro to our podcast.
How did you do that again?
Oh, don't make me start breaking it down. It's my sprinkler.
Yeah, that's Elaine. Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah.
No, I've actually never seen Seinfeld.
Okay. Well,
I didn't grow up with a TV, so we didn't have cable.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, let's not go down
I had
this
to
path.
walk uphill
Coach, let's not go down
to
this
and
path.
from school too.
Yeah.
Don't get me into these daddy issues too. I need someone to walk me down the aisle, by the way. I'm just kidding.
Hey.
What are you doing, April? Coach, how many players have you married? Anthony Gill was just raving about you at the Wizards,
4.
by the way.
It's been 4.
It's been 4. Are you? And then Joseph and Zant, when they were in Cancun for the Cancun Challenge, he proposed to his girlfriend, so now fiance. Are you going to marry them?
4. It's been 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you have to re-up your license every once in a
You
while?
actually
How does
do,
that work?
and you have to get a state.
It's in the Unitarian Church, right? Isn't that what you're like a Unitarian priest or something? Is that what you are technically?
Do you use the same script?
Joe,
I can
thank you that you don't share in the banter that.
Anything else, guys? Do we want to ask a little bit about CUSA, or do we want to?
No. Let's keep the focus where it needs to be. Like, I will say this though, Coach, senior night, Friday night, and I'm just gonna say it. Last year it was embarrassing how many people were in the arena for the senior festivities before the game.
That's actually why Darius.
I was embarrassed for Darius and for those guys. Flames Nation, shout them out, Coach. Like, how important is it that people show up early on Friday to recognize a group of guys that have accomplished an incredible amount over the last 4 or 5 seasons?
Yeah, I love our fan base. I think we have a special one, but I do think because Blake, Shiloh, Kyle, Darius, and Steven Berggraf will all, and Tyler, one of our managers, will all get on that court for what could be the last time for a lot of them. And yeah, I would hope that you wouldn't need to be incentivized to get there early, because what they've done for Liberty basketball has been immense. And I don't think there's anyone that has been a part of our program that won't be saddened by the fact that they won't get to play with those guys again. But we are eternally grateful for the relationships that we've been afforded to develop with them. So I think it'd be neat if those guys got honored in the right way.
Well, I'm going to speak for Joe.
I do hope that the students show up.
I'll speak for Joe and say free Alcove Mortgage mugs to the first 500 that show up 30 minutes before game time.
Oh my gosh.
Coach, I just want to present you with your very own. We're getting rid of this thing.
Wow.
Whatever this, we're not even going to show that.
No.
We're getting rid of this. Get around.
You can actually
Coach, what is your coffee? What is your drink of choice, Coach?
A grande or venti misto.
Well, your Venti Misto is now going to be
I don't know.
in the Yacht Talks mug, powered by Alcove Mortgage.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, I feel like I've arrived.
Coach, Coach, you're in the circle of trust.
There you go. I feel like now we're in the right place.
Coach, one last thing.
Yeah.
The JPL, the Yacht Pickleball League, Season 6 starts tomorrow night. It starts tomorrow night. And we're going to be going head-to-head. I'm going head-to-head against Matt Warner. Yeah. It's going to be violent. We're going to compete hard. I'm going to have to duck my head a few times because he throws his racket.
Yeah.
But I've got a little bone to pick with him. And he out in the JPL newsletter,
There's a newsletter.
out in the JPL newsletter, he claimed that Joe Yock is no longer relevant within the league.
Wow.
And he is a current champion. So, you know, you always see
Wow.
him.
I think Damien Sorlet wrote that piece.
Yeah, but to call me not relevant,
Yeah, that.
Coach, get me fired up for this season. Go ahead and give me one time.
I do think you got some bulletin board material.
Yeah.
However, Joe, I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed that it's just a men's league. You know, I feel like,
Give me a break.
I feel like
I didn't even ask. I didn't even tell him to say that.
Yeah,
This is how much Coach McKay and I
You
are.
told him to say that.
I swear.
You told him to say
I
that.
swear I did not.
Yeah.
But here, Title IX issue, and if not, I'll be the sideline reporter. You guys
You
need
can
a
sideline
sideline
report.
You can
report.
sideline.
Oh yeah, you can't play, but you can sideline report.
We also have
Yeah.
someone that brings the meals each week, so you can
Oh
handle
my
it.
God.
Yes, good. We'll put you in charge.
This is really, well, now we only have men listeners. Matt Warner,
Yeah.
ask what we do, like a mailbag, and somebody asked,
Oh yeah.
tell
Someone wrote in and they said,
And this is
on the
why.
podcast, Matt Warner seems like a great guy.
Yes.
On Twitter, he seems like an elitist jerk. Which is he? So
Wow.
we.
And
way
this
to
is,
answer that
and
question.
now they think that he's that on both.
So I've had to
platforms.
just try to prove one way or the other. Yeah, we're all in.
hey,
on-
don't listen to the haters.
That's right.
Yeah,
Log
haters
off.
gonna hate.
You know what? In his defense, right? I don't think I told you this.
Oh my gosh,
In
can
his
we do this
defense-
after we
No,
let
this
Coach
is
go?
Great. This is great. His defense. He sent me another message on Twitter
Yeah.
and said, you know, I didn't really mean it like that.
Yeah. That.
Like,
Yeah.
I
How
was
do
like,
you
"Dude, I
how
was
do you
like,
mean that?
No,
Right.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
It was perfect.
that's
Just
fine.
just let
That's
it.
fine.
Just leave it alone.
That's fine.
Leave it alone.
Coach McKay, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Yeah.
Be easy on me in this tournament, you know, with these,
Full
with these
steam-
halftime.
Full
I-
steam ahead. I love it. I sit there.
I don't even go in huddles with like 4 minutes to go because I'm like, oh my gosh, these questions have to be good. I cannot let Coach McKay get me this time. And no matter how good my question is, there's something. And then I'm like, I never know which Coach McKay I'm gonna get. Also, one more question. Do you care that I like, can you speak louder in huddles so I can report on that? You're so like calm.
All right, let me ask one more question.
Okay.
On that note, when we had Kyle Rote on the podcast, we said, Kyle, it seems like Coach McKay is just so composed. And he kind of gave us this look and he was like, well, you're not at practice, so I don't know. You don't really know. But like in game, you are very stoic, very composed for the most part. Have you always been that? Because you look at coaches around the country, your McCaffreys, your Musselmans, your Calipart, guys like that are very animated. Have you always been that way? Younger Coach McKay, were you more animated and now you've just like matured into you've seen everything? Like where does that come from?
Well, I'll take it as a compliment. Younger Coach McKay was maniacal and immature. And,
That's a good word.
and I think there's been a
I gotta look that one up.
yeah, I think there's been a maturation that is Holy Spirit led that I try not to blow my testimony anymore. Sometimes I'm thinking things that
You save it for the refs.
yeah. But no, again, I think being a coach at Liberty, I think we have a responsibility to make sure that we appropriate our emotions the right way. And easier said than done, but I also really trust our guys and feel like it's a privilege to lead them. So I want to make sure I do my best to be a witness that is not distracting
Yeah.
from the cause.
That reminds
It's
me.
so hard though,
Yeah.
because I like go into a huddle and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like so fired up. I'm ready to move over Kyle Rote and
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. I would never do that.
okay.
But I haven't really seen it because you look on the other side almost every time and there's just more animated coaches is the word I'll use. And even at the NBA level, like Brad Stevens was pretty chill.
He's-
But other than that, like, I'm just like, does Coach McKay understand like the importance of this moment? Like this is and you're just sitting there like this.
Tony Bennett's pretty chill too.
Tony Bennett's
And
pretty
I
chill.
worked
I've
with
never
him
covered
for a few years.
so.
What's funny is because I'll sometimes listen to the broadcast that you guys do,
I'm so sorry. I've been rough lately.
and when you are interviewing the opposing team coach, you're really good.
So much better. You make
And like
me
they're
so
excited
nervous.
to talk to you. Like they're like,
Yeah, and they're usually losing.
It's true. Yeah, they're usually down double digits.
They're usually down double digits, but I just like, I wing it. But with you, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to get? No, I'm kidding, Coach. I'm
Coach,
kidding.
bring home the bacon. I love this team. Excited. And they're so much fun to watch. You've done such a great job. And, the team, and I know as you would deflect off to the team's done such a great job. And this is going to be the Kennesaw State loss is a great learn. As I know you've already framed it as a great learning experience, and makes it even more exciting for us as fans as we come down the home stretch here and watch the Flames bring home the bacon, baby. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I'd rather have nets that are cut than bacon, but
That's good. Great point.
It depends. Thanks so much, Coach. We'll see you on Friday at Liberty Arena. Make sure you get there early. Okay, first things first, by the end of this Flame Central podcast powered by Alcove Mortgage, I will have a women's league branched off in the JPL.
Okay.
I mean, every guest is on board with me.
I feel like Emily behind the scenes is getting to every guest before they come on.
She's maneuvering.
She's
maneuvering. Right. You know what?
I am honest. I am truthful. I would never lie to you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, I'd never said that to Coach McKay. He probably listened to one episode and realized to do his prep and realized that there needs to be a women's league. But like concerts have like what's it called? The people that go before.
Warm-up act.
That can be like the women, you know?
Oh, yeah,
they can do like a 20-minute
like the
warm-up.
JV, basketball game.
Before the big show.
Yeah.
No, how great is Coach McKay?
He's the best.
I mean, after our halftime interviews, I'm like, I want to hate him. No, I'm kidding. I love that there's just
all in good fun.
I love that sense of humor, and that's so rare, especially in the middle of a game, that he's able to have that kind of sense of humor. I just think that you cannot find a better representation for this men's basketball program and for Liberty, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he's the best. He's the best. As humble, and you see it. People talk about teams taking on the characteristics of their coach. You see it with these Liberty teams over 100%. The years.
Yeah.
So humble, always. I mean, we sit and talk to Kyle Rowe, Darius McGee, always deflecting, giving credit to their teammates. You talk to Ritchie McKay. Like I've multiple times this year heard him talk about. He'll say like, we've got great players, great coaches, and he'll stop himself and be like, well, great assistant coaches. Like he even wants to make sure like I'm not saying me. I'm saying them. Like as humble as they come. And I mean, he's the best guy that you could have here at Liberty. Like he is. In a lot of ways, the face of Liberty athletics. I know football gets more attention typically, but who else would you want at the forefront of your athletic program?
He's just awesome. In his last press conference, we didn't really talk about it here because I know he gets really fired up, but I'm interested in your opinion. He thinks that the NCAA tournament should be expanded.
More
teams.
He thinks because the mid-majors are kind of getting cut out.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, let's just say Liberty doesn't win the tournament, which
because the way scheduling
think about
is now,
it's
no one will play them, so they don't have the opportunity to build a resume that's worthy of an at-large. And so he thinks, well, if they're not going to do that, they should expand.
Did he give specifics on how many teams we're talking about expanding it out?
I can't remember if he gave
80s
specifics.
Maybe or something.
But think about it, because you have all the, what does he say, the tier one?
Quad ones.
The quad ones are going to make games for the quad fours with the quad fours.
That's his whole thing,
It's just, it makes a lot of sense. And
I hate messing up my bracket. You know what I mean?
I know, but it's not all about you and your gambling.
I know, I'm a traditionalist.
Let me tell you.
I want the 64, whatever. Even the 68, I'm like, I'm not have to do that.
If you have a gambling problem, you can call one. I'm kidding.
But no, that's tradition. That's what But I do certainly understand
but when I am the
same.
I thought the same. I thought the same initially, but then when he explains it, when you see the stress, and it has not been, he is very clear about this. It's not difficult to schedule. It is a nightmare for mid-majors to schedule. I don't know if it'll be different on the Conference USA level, but it is interesting. And when you hear his explanation on it, I think it makes a lot of sense to expand, and I don't really care about Matt Warner's bracket. Go ahead.
It's sort of like Matt Warner in pickleball. He's got a lot of quad 4 wins.
Right.
He's got
just eat those cupcakes.
He eats the cupcakes. He wins a lot of cupcakes. He wins a lot of those. And so until he gets some quad 1 wins, then he needs to stop talking trash to me. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh, man. All right. The women are at... Oh, did you want to say one more thing?
No, I was just going to jump into the women.
Yeah, the women are on fire.
11 straight. 11
Holy
straight
smokes.
wins. Beat Queens this past weekend on Saturday. They've got 3 games left,
Mm-hmm.
2 of them against Bellarmine, 2 of the 3 at home. Bellarmine is not very good in the league, so they'd be favored there. Eastern Kentucky in between them is pretty good. Here's where it sits right now. We know we give you a little update each
Yeah,
week.
the standings.
So FGCU is
good.
still 14-1.
They're good.
Liberty 13-2 in second place all by themselves. You got one of those top 2, so at least you've got home court until the championship.
Right.
FGCU does still have some tough ball games. They play Kennesaw State, which is in the middle of the pack. They have another game with Lipscomb, who's in 3rd. So there's some opportunities there for them to slip up. They actually didn't play very well in their last win either. So there's still an opportunity there. But right now,
And then Liberty would have that tiebreaker, correct?
See, that's actually, I don't know. I don't know how on the women's side.
If FGCU loses, they don't have that tiebreaker?
Well, no, because they split in the regular season.
Oh, they did.
So
split.
we'll have
Okay.
to figure out what
Okay.
that would be.
Goes to the next highest ranked team. How you did against them.
Well, the men, and if the women are doing the same, the men do this thing called a clean 13. That's a tiebreaker. It's just, I mean, what, a Sun concoction.
What's the women's overall record right now?
Right now,
13-2.
19-7.
Oh, overall.
13-2 in conference, 19-7
overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're playing really good basketball right now is when it matters most.
Yeah.
So exciting stuff down the stretch for them. What else do we have?
Tough series for baseball to open up.
Oh,
they
yes,
are on the
baseball.
road to
Gosh,
rank.
I always
rank
am
Southern
so shocked
Miss.
that-
Southern Miss is really good.
They are good.
Yeah,
They're
Southern Miss
ranked,
is really good.
and Liberty offense just couldn't get going. And you know what? A lot of times early in the season, that's pretty typical.
Yeah.
The pitching's usually ahead of the hitting. So they'll have an opportunity. Wednesday, they go to Duke. Remember, they start their first 7 games on the road.
Yeah.
So they go to Duke, an opportunity to get a win over an
What's
ACC
Duke
club.
like? What's they traditionally like?
They weren't that great last year. They're like middle of the lower part of the
Alright, so
ACC.
we are
So
good.
we've got,
We gotta
we
get
usually
around that.
at least split with them typically in the season. So
And then softball has been playing some
softball,
huge
murderers row.
top
Like they have played. They
dogs.
played number 1. They played number 2. They've played
That's
number
Dot
16
Richardson
and number
now.
14, number 17. So yes, number 11. So right now you look at their record and it's 1-9 to start the year, and you're like, oh, panic? No, don't like. Once they start getting into their schedule, which they're going to be at home now, and they're starting to play kind of teams more in line with where they are, like they're going to dominate. And honestly, even look at these
absolutely
games,
dominant.
like
they're close. I was just going to say that some
lost
of them are
1-0 in 8 innings to number 1.
right.
You took number 2 UCLA, you lost by 1 run.
I mean, that's amazing.
I mean, they're
I know.
like a couple things
Yes.
break
I
their
know.
way, and they
that's
have
amazing.
knocked
And
off.
this is why
top
when
teams.
it gets to ASUN play, they just
roll.
completely
They steamroll.
dominate.
Murderers row.
Um,
It has been. It has
yeah.
been. Dot Richardson's like, bring me your best.
Yes.
Right.
You know?
That's
But
awesome.
that
Credit her for
helps,
that.
do that early in the
Yeah.
season, and
Get
I don't think that it's going to affect or impact their mental state
No.
because Dot is just
Especially when you're playing teams that close.
so
Right.
inspiring.
That's the
No, you're
thing.
right there.
Like you're right there.
You're right there.
Love it.
All right, so I know we talked a little bit about it we're gonna get to mailbag.
Mailbag.
Gosh, we've got to edit that out.
I love it. That's my favorite part.
We'll get to mailbag and we have questions, right?
We have one kind of general question.
Okay,
yeah.
but I really want to dive a little deeper into this like whole Flames Nation showing up to basketball games because
Yes.
I have been really disappointed this season
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that.
Disappointed.
The crowds
the-
have been great.
with the students.
Oh, okay. Well, listen.
I don't think that I think more students can be
Okay,
the Lynchburg crowd, the
Yeah.
Joe Yawks,
Yeah, we're
way
there.
up high.
Joe Yachts.
Yeah.
That crowd.
First of all,
I'm-
there's not
I-
a seat that's way up high.
Right,
It's a
right.
really
I'm
nice- it's a
telling
really
you,
great place
I
to
don't
watch a
think
ball
that
game.
the city of Lynchburg, that Flames Nation, has been more supportive
Oh,
in any other year.
No, they
I
brought
mean,
in.
the
And
sides
you've had
of the arena.
sellouts. You've had
Yeah.
multiple sellouts.
But I'm talking about the students. I've just
Yeah.
like, maybe it's, and here's what I need to remember. A lot of games that we play at home aren't that close. So
Right.
it's hard to get like all these student rowdy sections when the games are like
You're up
Liberty
20.
leading 20.
I think, yeah, and hopefully here when we get to tournament time and all that stuff, you'll see more of that. My
I know,
big
I'm being a
thing,
hater.
and like I said to Coach McKay, we just got to have fans there early on Friday night. And I
Mhm.
know it's a different night than normal. It's not a Saturday or Thursday.
It's Friday night.
It's Friday night. What else are you
Friday
doing?
night, baby.
Where else would you rather
Friday
be than
night
Liberty
and
Arena?
The moon is out. I'm gonna head on over to the Twist and Shout.
Okay,
Isn't
well,
that why? Just head on over to the arena.
get there early. Like
Head on over to the arena.
you have had the chance, and I hope people have taken advantage of it, to see the greatest player in Liberty history.
Amen.
Yeah.
You had the chance to see it. You're running out of chances. Get there early.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Give this kid his due, along with the other guys that have played such a huge role and are great in their own right. Get there early for senior night. I want to see
Darius,
people in the stands.
Darius deserves it.
He deserves it.
He deserves it.
Get out there.
All right, what's our mailbag question?
Oh, the only mailbag question we had this week, and again,
Disappointing once again.
give the
Come
pitch.
on.
Give the pitch for people that we're kind of on it every other week. We get a lot one week and then not a lot. So
I mean, you got it. Consistency
Flame
is the key
Central.
to being great.
Flame Central at liberty.edu. Any questions, anytime,
Some life
any
advice.
topic.
Life advice.
We have a wealth of knowledge here.
Yeah.
You know?
We are ready to share it.
Yeah, right. Some of it is like, here's what not to do, but we also have positive
There
advice as
are
well.
lessons.
Yeah, in losing. Who was it? You told that. You told that to the Eastern Kentucky coach.
He
she
loved
dropped
it.
that.
No, she did.
It was
I
our
dropped
pregame
it.
chat, like a shoot around.
I did, and he goes,
"Oh, I might have to
I really
use
like that.
You
I'm
know
gonna
what?
steal that from you."
You know what? And he had to later that night. You know what I'm saying? He had
He
to.
goes, "Listen up, guys. We just lost by."
Never heard that one before.
He's like, yeah.
Stop it.
All right. The only question was about spring game for football, April 15th, 1:30. Be there. Someone asked if it would be broadcast. And it doesn't sound like, I don't think that's going to be the case. So that was their question.
What? You've
Are
been
we
teasing about
broadcasting?
that.
Why not broadcast?
There's a lot of things that go into
But
it.
I don't understand.
I'll
There's a
explain
lot-
to you guys later. There's a lot of
I wanna
layers.
explain
There's a
on
lot
it.
going on that day.
I'm throwing the
I wanna-
challenge flag.
I want to explain on
So,
air.
but I will tease this.
I don't want to explain off
It
air.
hasn't-
I want to explain on air.
It hasn't been
Let's
announced yet.
broadcast
There
this.
could be some other ways to follow it. Let me just put that out there.
Oh, Facebook
and
Live.
we'll
Remember
see what
when
we can
we used to do those Facebook Lives?
Yes.
Oh
What
my
was it,
gosh,
Live
they
from
were
105?
so
You remember those?
funny.
Those
Joe
are
was there.
great.
Those
Live
are
from
so
105.
good.
Great.
And
Love
then,
Live from 105.
and then along came the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcove Mortgage.
right.
If you want to get in touch with our guy, if you're looking to buy a home, you
Hey,
can
tell him.
use the Google machine.
Guess what?
What's that?
The Flame Central podcast is 100% responsible for some brand new homeowners.
Is that right?
In the state of North Carolina.
Oh, see, that's what people
Wow.
don't realize.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
worldwide.
Yes. And they had some difficulty. Yeah, we're worldwide.
Yeah.
The oceans don't separate us.
Right.
They had some difficulty with another lender.
Yeah.
A Flame Central podcast listener who's a realtor in North Carolina by the name of Michael Lee.
Okay.
Faithfully watches the Flame Central podcast. Said, you know what? I'm going to call. I know about that. I know about Joe Yock and the Flame Central podcast. Alcove Mortgage. I'm going to call him. Calls me. We get the clients.
Yeah.
Clients are like, oh my goodness, we got a contract on this house and it's not working out with the other. Like, no, it's just everybody. Ritchie McKay.
Right.
Joe Yock is the
Cool,
Ritchie
calm,
McKay
collected.
of the mortgage industry.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, in a huddle.
I'm in the huddle.
Yeah.
We're
I
in the
get the
huddle.
team together. We get in the huddle.
You keep everybody
and we do a little here,
calm.
a little,
Right.
a little over here. And next thing you know, the other day, last week, they close. They send me a
Unbelievable.
picture
They're
in
cutting
front of their
nets.
house. They got the baby in their hand. I mean, we're cutting nets. So thank you,
We're good.
Flames Nation,
Yeah.
Flame Central Podcast for supporting Alcove Mortgage. Keep them coming, baby.
Keep 'em
It is
coming.
so
Keep 'em
true.
coming.
Richie McKay, we talked about that with him about how calm he is because it's like if it's a close game down the stretch, which again, this doesn't happen often at Liberty Arena, but when I'm like in the huddle, I'm like so stressed, so anxious, and none of the players
Poise.
show it.
Poised.
It's just poised down the stretch because Richie McKay is just so chill and his typical. But I need to incorporate that.
And
in
folks,
a little bit
a
more.
lot of that is very similar to Joe Yock at Alcove Mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what's worse, me. Oh, speaking of me,
Oh, here we go again.
my wedding dress fits.
Oh yeah, we
My
saw
wedding
it.
dress
Yeah, we
fits.
saw. I saw
So
it.
the spinach-
I saw it. Yeah.
That's a
Great.
boomerang.
Yeah, boomerang.
Hey, more importantly,
I-
I'm looking forward to next week because where we can give our weekly JPL updates starting next week.
Starting
Oh,
next week.
yes, I know.
JPL
Get those.
Okay,
season 6 starts tomorrow night.
That's it.
And when they get those
located-
updates, I'm walking off the set. So
JPL located
thank you.
at Hell's Half Acre.
thank you so much for
I've had
listening.
to explain that to so many
Come on.
people. They're like, "What is?" I'm like, "It's a long story."
All right, we promise we're going to finish it up right here. Thanks for listening or watching the Flame Central podcast. Please send in your questions, criticism, whatever you want to the mailbag.
Mailbag.
It's flamecentral@liberty.edu. We'll see you right back here next week.